Today we are going to be finding the exact value given sine or cosine. These problems are going to feel a little bit different, but the algebra is going to be a lot easier compared especially to what we did yesterday. I'm going to do one example, but this is going to be kind of like 3 problems in one. It's got a lot of parts to it. Given cosine of A equals negative 7/25 in quadrant 3. Find sine of 2a, cosine of 2a, and tangent of 2a. Just like some of the previous problems, there's going to be some work up front before we dive in and actually answer the 3 questions, sine of 2a, cosine of 2a, and tangent of 2a. So on the surface, these are your double angle formulas that we're asking you to find. And we actually, if we use the middle cosine formula here, could find cosine, but that's it. We do not have the information to do sine or tangent yet. But I'm going to do everything from the beginning, so then I could just go and knock all of those out one after the other. This is going to involve a tad bit of graphing. So we have cosine of A equals negative 7/25. To use the formulas, we need to know the values of sine and tangent as well. So I'm going to go ahead and set those up. So we need to figure out what those are before we can proceed. And again, this was given in Q3, quadrant 3. That is very important information. If you think back a couple units, we're going to draw triangles in the plane again. We're in quadrant 3, so we're here. And it doesn't need to be fancy, and it more likely won't be drawn to size, but just draw a triangle in that quadrant and make sure the right angle is on the x-axis, not the y-axis. To do this, we're going to need to go back to our trig ratios. So cosine, and I'll just write it here. It's going to be a little crammed. Cosine is what over what? Go back to early trig. What 2 letters? Not O and H. You're close.
Oh, A and H.
A and H. Good. You're good. And since it's already been brought up, I'll go ahead and fill that in for sine. Sine is O over H. And while we're on the topic, what's tangent? Over A. Thank you. So that's the information we're going to use to get to those answers. We know from the given information 2 of the sides. And before I do that, let me identify H, O, and A in this triangle. I always go in that order, H, O, A. H is the hypotenuse. It's always in the same place. It's across from the 90. And then O is opposite the origin. We almost always go from that angle there, especially when we're graphing in the plane. So O is always going to be on the vertical, and A is always going to be on the horizontal. Again, these are concepts that we discussed back in, I believe it was 4-1. If it wasn't 4-1, it was 4-2. So like November, December, about that time. I know it's been a while, but still in this school year. All right, so we know that A is -7, and we know that H is 25. This is a right triangle. How do you find the missing side of a right triangle? What do you use? Pythagorean theorem, thank you. So we're going to do that to get our missing side here. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. When you set this up, I always place the C first, because if you misplace C, then the whole formula is wrong. What goes in for C? Which number? 25. Thank you. It's the hypotenuse. So this is 25 squared, and then A and B can be whatever you want it to be. I'm going to let A be A in this case, so -7 squared. Make sure you put it in parentheses since it's a negative number this time. Plus, and then O will be my B. And I'm going to put a little curl on it just so we don't mistake it for a 0. That's just my personal preference. You also could have just done B squared. Choice is yours. All right, couple steps here. -7 squared, that is 49, positive 49. Plus O squared equals 625. Then we subtract the 49 over on both sides. And then we get O squared equals, I believe that's 576, but I'm going to check. Yes, 576. And then we square root both sides. And that gets us 24. Now, reminder, when you take square roots of both sides of an equation, you have to introduce a plus or minus. And that is important in this problem because that could be positive or negative, depending on which quadrant we are in. Looking at the image, looking at where O is in this plane, is this a positive or a negative 24? It is a negative 24. The clearest way to know that just by looking at the picture is because this is under the y-axis. It's parallel to the negatives on the under the x-axis is what I meant to say. Under the x-axis parallel to the negative part of the y-axis. So that's the most straightforward way to know that this is a negative 24. It goes down from the x-axis. If it were to go up above it, then it would be a positive 24. Okay. We know all three sides. Now we can easily fill in these missing numbers. So O over H, we have negative 24 over 25. And then O over A, we have negative 24 over negative 7. Negatives will cancel. We have 24 over 7. And just a quick reminder, we're in the third quadrant. Remember our acronym, all students take calculus. We're in third quadrant T. T, tangent should be positive, the other two should be negative. Make sure you use that trick to double check your work because that would be an easy way to catch a mistake. Say you forget a negative on one of the legs. So that's just my advice there. So again, tangent should be positive and the other two should be negative. Because of all students take calculus and we're in the third quadrant. Okay, now that we have our values, we are able to find the three formulas that they ask us for, the three values. I'm just going to go in order. We have sine of 2a. Following our formula here, instead of a u, we're obviously just going to replace it with a. 2 sine of a cosine of a From here, we substitute with the 3 values we are given. A lot of students overcomplicate these problems, but I already did the most complicated part of the problem. From here, you have the numbers, so don't worry about the a so much. Just use what these values are equal to. We have 2, and then sine of a is equal to negative 24 over 25. Times cosine of a is negative 7 over 25. And then I'm curious, if I put this in the calculator, will it give me a nice fraction? Because if it does, then we're just going to cheat using that. What did I do? Let's go back. Okay. 24. Good Lord, I can't do anything right. Okay. Parentheses, then I'll do the alpha x. Yep. And what's nice is these calculators automatically reduce for you as well. So as long as you set it up correctly, you can just type that whole thing in and get your fraction. 336 over 625. And you're allowed to use your calculators on the test, so I have no problem if you do this on the test. No problem at all. I'm not testing your ability to multiply with fractions. I'm testing your ability to use the formulas. Okay, that's one of them. 2 more. Cosine of 2a. And reminder, this is the one that has 3 different options. I always go for the top one. It's my personal preference. We have cosine squared of a minus sine squared of a and then cosine of a is equal to negative 7/25. And then don't forget that square does transfer with that term. Minus sine is negative 24 over 25 squared. And again, as long as the calculator will do the math for us and give a fraction, that's the important part. I want these as fractions, not decimals. So if you ever type this in and it gives you a decimal, then you're going to have to do more of this by hand, just giving you that heads up. Yep. Negative 527 over 625. Reminder, if you have this calculator, make sure you're using alpha x to type in these fractions. Will save you some trouble and there's less room for error. Questions on the first 2 before I do tangent? Okay. Last one, tangent of 2a. And since we have numbers for these instead of, or nice numbers I should say, instead of what we get from the unit circle, that makes the algebra so much easier. 2 tangent of a over 1 minus tangent squared of a. Bless you. So we have 2, and then tangent of a is 24/7. over 1 minus tangent squared, so 24/7 squared. And again, I'll attempt to use the calculator to do this for me. I have 2 times 24/7 over 1 minus 24/7 squared. Good, give me a fraction. And we have negative 336 over 527. If you're going to rely on the calculator entirely, make sure you double check your entries, because obviously one symbol that's wrong, one number that's wrong is going to throw off your whole answer, and you'll lose some credit because the work won't fully be there. So I at least need to see this on your test if you want full credit.